a quick look at the grid, haven't we, as they're heading towards the end of this formation lap. Daryl De Leon starts round 28 on pole position with Dan Camish lining up with him at the front. It's going to be Dan Rowbottom who goes from third, and Tom Chilton starts fourth ahead of Adam Morgan and Jake Hill. Then you've got Tom Ingram going from 7th. He's on that harder medium tyre. Charles Rainford is alongside him. Then the Toyotas of Gordon Shedden and Aaron Taylor-Smith next. 11th is where you find Ash Sutton. Aidan Moffat is going to start from 12th ahead of Senna Proctor and Chris Smiley, the best of the independents. Then you've got Dan Lloyd ahead of Dexter Patterson. Mikey Doble next from Sam Osborne. And then Nick Halstead and Max Buxton on the penultimate row. Nick Hamilton starts 21st, and Josh Cook is going to be at the back of the grid as into the pit lane comes Daryl De Leon. The man from pole position is coming down the pit road. So dramas for Daryl De Leon. There he is. So it is not going to be converting pole into the race lead and a race win. He's got dramas.
Well, he led everyone round to the grid okay, and he appeared to be okay on the outlap, but the bonnet's gone up. The engineers are looking underneath. He certainly won't be starting this race from anywhere from the pit lane if he starts it at all. What a shame for Daryl De Leon.
And so that means there is a big gap ahead of Dan Rowbottom then to try to pounce on Dan Camish. They are both on that soft tyre, remember, as well. And you've got Tom Chilton on the soft, Adam Morgan on the soft. The best placed on the grid of those on the medium tyre is Jake Hill, local hero, of course, and the outgoing champion. We wait for the last few cars to come into place. Josh Cook should be worth watching, shouldn't he, up from the very back of the grid as Ash Sutton now makes his way into position. Just ahead to the left as you look is Aaron Taylor-Smith's Toyota Corolla. It's been an up and down sort of a season for Aaron, but the best result he's had this year is a 4th, and we know how good a driver he is, so let's see what he can do over the course of these first 15 racing laps of the day. There is Josh Cook at the very back. Nobody on pole position then for round 28 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. 15 laps are ahead of us. You've got Dan Camish, who has got 3 laps worth of boost. Dan Rowbottom with 5 laps of boost lining up with him then. So lights go red. Let's get race day underway because the engine notes rise, the lights go out, we go racing. And who makes the best of the starts? It is going to be Camish, but a good getaway by Chilton then to get up alongside Rowbottom on the run down towards Paddock. He's ahead of him as well as Rowbottom gets Adam Morgan into the back of him. Jake Hill comes next. Robo switches sides and tries to get alongside Chilton on the run up the hill. Chilton doesn't give him a huge amount of room, but Rowbottom stands his ground on the inside line. It's Dan Camish in the lead. It's Dan Rowbottom second ahead of Chilton, then Morgan, then Hill, and Ingram is next.
Yeah, formation start at the front. The 2 Napa Fords getting away very nicely. Ingram trying, of course, to stay out of trouble as much as possible.
He needs to try to outscore Sutton by a further 12 points to win the championship in this race, and he's had a very good first couple of corners. Sutton's in the body of the field, desperately trying to push forward as the cars accelerate down towards Hawthorns. Look at this, Ingram is on the attack. He's not just banking points, he's going for it.
Yeah, and Sutton has been sort of caught up in that block of cars immediately behind. Oh, puncher for Jake Hill, left front.
Driver on that one for Jake Hill down at Hawthorn. He gets the car around the corner, but that's going to be another WSR BMW in the pit lane. Daryl De Leon is still there as you go on board with Ash Sutton, who, if anything, looks like he's been shuffled back in the queue rather than going forward.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out for him on lap 1, despite his aggressive start, but strange to see a puncture on lap 1 for Jake Hill. He started on the medium tyre as well.
So was there contact that caused it? We'll try and unravel it as the leaders come now down towards the vehicle bridge at Clearways into Clark Kerr for the first time. Dan Camish trying to get away. Double winner this year, 3rd in the championship. His big rival for that 3rd place, Jake Hill, in strife, and the other big rival is Dan Rowbottom, and he's in 2nd place. 3rd over the line is Chilton. 4th is Morgan. Up to 5th already is Ingram. Demon first lap. Okay, he gained a place with the dramas for Jake Hill, but even so, he's pushing forward. In 6th is Charles Rainford. Gordon Shedden is 7th, and Dan Lloyd is already 8th from 15th on the grid on the soft tyre. Sutton is 9th. He has gone forward in fairness, and Moffat's 10th.
Well, Sutton and Ingram started on the medium tyre, so it's not as though Ingram's had the advantage of that to make gain places. As further back we see this move coming up the inside, and Ash Sutton trying to buy into it as well. That's Lloyd up another place, and Sutton can't get through on Shedden.
Absolutely, so Lloyd making really good progress. Remember, he was the 2nd place of the independents on the grid. He's put himself ahead of Chris Smiley, so it's been a really good first couple of laps by Dan Lloyd. Lloyd. Smiley in the background is defending. There is Sutton then going through, still trying to edge his way forward. As now, look, Rainford gets ahead of Ingram. So a place change. That's for 5th. Charles Rainford goes by, and Tom Ingram not making life overly difficult. He does not want to get caught up in dramas as Jake Hill rejoins. Darryl De Leon, look in the background, is still in the pits.
Yeah, so not a good start to the race weekend for BMW and West Surrey Racing for sure, with problems for 2 of their 4 cars. But Rainford making progress, passing Ingram.
Indeed so, and if Sutton can go forward and others can shuffle Ingram backwards, that's going to help him as Senna Proctor there gets onto the back of Aidan Moffat as they come up towards the timing line. Rowbottom is now coming under attack from Chilton. They duked it out on the first lap. Camish is getting away up the road by the tune of over a second, and Chilton so nearly to the inside line there, but he couldn't quite get across in time. Now he does try and commits the issue. Rowbottom squeezes him up the curve, and Chilton keeps on coming. He forces the door open, gets his shoulder against it to force it open there.
Yeah, he got his tin opener out, didn't he? That was the only way you could describe that. He just was easing Rowbottom out all the way from Paddock up to Druids, and finally got the door open. And having opened the door, teammate Morgan tries to get inside, has contact with Rowbottom, and that drops him back a further 3 places, but of course advances that man Ingram.
We understand that Aidan Moffat has had a spin up at Druids and rejoined, as there is Charles Rainford also getting ahead of Adam Morgan. Charles Rainford topped his group early on in qualifying and then faded a bit, so he started 8th, but he's pushing forward. So there he goes. Then it is Camish the race leader. It is Chilton now up into 2nd place. Rainford is going to be 3rd, Morgan 4th. 5th now it is Ingram, and then the Napa Ford of Rowbottom I think is next in the queue, but Sutton's not far behind either. There is Rowbottom, then you've got Lloyd, then you've got Shedden, and there is Sutton. What can Rowbottom now do to help Sutton, to help him get up the order? Well, if he helps him, he sacrifices his own chances against Camish the 3rd in the championship.
Exactly, all these inter-battles going on, and in the battle for 3rd, obviously Camish is leading that by leading the race. His rivals Jake Hill's had a puncture and dropped to the back, and Rowbottom's dropped further back as well. So you're absolutely right, in that battle it's advantage Camish, but what can Rowbottom do to maybe help Sutton?
As up towards Druids goes Charles Rainford, under attack from Adam Morgan, whose brush with Rowbottom may get looked at. We'll see post-race. Right now for the championship it would be 37 points between Ingram and Sutton, with a further 44 available at the end of this race. Along Cooper Straight they come. Sutton knows exactly what he's got to do, and it's very difficult to get up the order because he's got the Racy M Sport engine Toyota of Gordon Shedden there just ahead of him. And remember that Sutton comes into this with, like Ingram, a negligible amount of boost. 1 lap available for Ingram, 2 laps available for Ash Sutton, and of course he wants to use that at the very end. So what he's doing now has got to be on pure pace and pure racecraft. Yeah, he hasn't used either of his laps so far, but he's probably in danger of ending up in a situation where he's only racing against cars who have got boost as well at the end of the lap, because they've all got more than him in front. Silverstone winner Sam Osborne and Josh Cook getting ahead of Mikey Doble then, so that little battle is for 13th, 14th, 15th as they squabble their way up the hill. In the independent standings, it's Dan Lloyd 10 ahead of Mikey Doble at the moment. Further 6 back is Chris Smiley. It's advantage Lloyd, of course. The best of those on the medium tyre right now is Ingram. He's 5th. The second of those on the medium tyre, Shedden 8th, and then 3rd medium tyre runner Sutton 9th overall. Yeah, so England doing a good job on that medium, up to 5th place from the starting position and looking comfortable in that position. Race leaders go by, 4 in the book. Rowbottom does the fastest lap of the race, so certainly no serious damage incurred in that little battle with Adam Morgan and the contact. Charles Rainford is now going to be ahead of Darryl De Leon, who has not yet got into the race as far as the Jack Sears Trophy is concerned. The Jack Sears Trophy named after the first and a double British saloon car champion Jack Sears, former president of the British Racing Drivers Club. Charles Rainford 12 ahead of De Leon, Sam Osborne 3rd. We work lap 5 of 15 and Gordon Shedden being given a driving standards flag for track with the fences. Camish is the leader by a second and a half. Yeah, well, not a disaster, but certainly advantage for Charles Rainford in that Jack Sears, and he must have thought that his advantage wasn't going to come with De Leon on pole, but it swung the other way. And there is Sutton, look, coming under attack from Aaron Taylor-Smith. So Ash Sutton not going forward. Now he's having to defend because ATS is crawling all over the back of him. We know what a feisty racer Aaron Taylor-Smith is. As I say, it's been an up and down sort of the season for him. He is better than the results across the previous 27 races would suggest. But right now, he's certainly giving a tough time to Ash Sutton, 2nd in the championship.
Yeah, well, Aaron Taylor-Smith, of course, has got maximum number of laps with boost. So there's going to be a lot of defending from Sutton on the laps when he's not using it.
And by defending, he's going slower, so he's falling back, isn't he, from Shedden? Sutton then comes out of Clark Curve. All of a sudden, though, Chris Smiley gets himself onto the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith. So that distracts Taylor-Smith a fraction. It gives Sutton a bit of breathing space. You're on board with Smiley, up to paddock now.
Great on board, Paddock Hill Bend, one of the legendary corners on the touring car schedule. Does Smiley get alongside sufficiently? He does, and it's made very easy for him in actual fact.
Out of the corner comes Ash Sutton. Chris Smiley through that, having gained a place in that Restart Racing Hyundai. They won the independent teams title at Silverstone, and it's been a great season for Pete Jones's team. Now Smiley, who's been an outright race winner in the past, tries to get up the inside of Sutton there, diving into Surtees. Had a good look, but Ash able to fend him off. So Sutton is 9th, Ingram is 5th. It's very much advantage Ingram.
Very much so. He's extending that 33-point lead. He needs 44 at the end of this race if he were to secure the championship now, but that isn't happening at the moment.
As Dan Rowbottom is under attack from Dan Lloyd. Snetterton revisited, although that was for the race lead. There you've got Sutton going through ahead of Smiley. So Napa forward versus Restart twice here.
Yeah. But of course that Hyundai is very quick anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a quick car, it's quick in a straight line, very aerodynamic. With the boost as well on the laps that Smiley chooses to use it, it's going to be all Ash Sutton can do to keep him behind.
Down towards Clearways and Clark Curve they come. Meanwhile, Dan Camish is being caught by Tom Chilton. The gap was down last time for the lead to 0.7 of a second. Chilton having done the fastest lap of the race, and now Rainford has done the fastest lap of the race in 3rd. That means the leading 3 are covered by 0.8 of a second. It's concertinaing for the race lead as they head into Druids. This is coming out of paddock. Sutton versus Smiley. Smiley thinks about the inside, he commits, but Sutton's just able to cut across and defend.
But Chilton is bringing Rainford and Morgan with him, so rather than it being a single car attack on Camish, which would be better for Chilton, if they all end up bunching up together, that could help Camish. But he did have a 2.5 lead. That's been halved.
Indeed, and Rainford takes that point for fastest lap. In other words, he also takes it away from Ingram, takes it away from Sutton, down towards Hawthorns. This is the lead battle, and in fact, having said it was concertina in 1, 2 and 3, make that 4. There's Adam Morgan, he is catching as well. This is Tom Ingram, championship leader 5th. Dan Rowbottom in the background will be 6th as he comes into view, bringing with him Shedden and then Sutton. There is a mechanical warning, a meatball flag being shown for Aidan Moffat. He had a spin up at Druids early on. There's a drama with Moffat's car. He's going to have to pit. And that's another WSR BMW bound for the pit lane.
Yeah, usually that's for bodywork hanging off. His other teammate, Darren Leon, hasn't come out of the pits. If they'd have thought they'd fixed the car, they'd send it out to try it out, but he hasn't come back out. But that battle in front is concertinaing nicely and giving Ingram a lovely space in which to click off his laps. He's got no one directly behind him. He can watch the action in front of him. Look, there he comes into shot now. Nice, comfortable place to be for Ingram.
Big effort to be made there, though, on the inside line by Gordon Shedden, who beautifully goes ahead of Dan Lloyd. And interestingly, that's medium tyres passing softs.
So maybe the softs are going off on Dan Lloyd's car. He was incredibly quick at the start, wasn't he? Maybe he took a little bit too much life out of them, and this is the crossover point. Although the lap times are still extremely quick. Remember, Rainford actually set the fastest lap on only the last lap, so they're quite well into this race.
And the driving standards flag now for Josh Cook for track limits. Josh from the back of the grid is up into 13th. Jake Hill, by the way, still 21st after the pit stop because he lost so much time coming back into the pits. He really needs a safety car to give him any sort of a lifeline. Aidan Moffat's just rejoined, by the way, and we are currently on lap 8 out of 15, as you see there. Sam Osborne going through ahead of Mikey Doval. He was ahead at the start of the lap. Doval had got up alongside, but Sam Osborne on the back of his Silverstone win reasserts himself.
Yes, the Power Max team soldiering on. Osborne gets very wide on the exit of Hawthorns. But Power Max have announced this week they're going to be building brand new cars for next year, the Audi S3 Saloon. And that will be a welcome return to the championship, at least for that brand. It's not a factory team, but the Power Max are going to build 2 brand new cars. And if you align those with new cars from Jason Plato, the championship looks pretty healthy for next year.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? As across the line then goes that lead battle. It's down to half a second between Camish and Chilton. Rainford is still 3rd. Morgan is ahead of Ingram. Ingram for 4th, and it's Rowbottom 6th. Shedden's back up to 7th then ahead of Lloyd, and then it's Sutton versus Smiley to round out that top 10. Race leader Dan Camish, interesting as to where all the time has gone to, but maybe this is just him looking after the softs. You said yesterday that punctures can be an issue at Brands, and we saw it early on with Jake Hill for whatever reason. Yeah, the interesting thing as we near the end of the race is who's got what boost left. And of the front group, Rainford and Morgan both have 5 laps each. Camish has 3, so one more than Chilton, who has 2. But Rainford and Morgan are the ones with the most. And you also saw a moment ago Josh Cook getting up into 12th place at the expense of Senna Proctor. So 22nd to 12th for Josh Cook, and on the medium tyre. OK, he's got truckloads of boost, but he's on that theoretically slower tyre, and it's been a good showing as you expect from Cookie. Yeah, he's probably going to use the medium again in the next race and hope for a good reverse grid slot to then use his softs. So reverse engineering his race weekend or his race day after a problem in qualifying. And there was an engine change overnight as well after that oil pressure issue yesterday. Senna Proctor has been given the track limits driving standards flag. We're on lap number 9, and a drive-through penalty now for Aidan Moffat. Aidan Moffat gets a drive-through. We'll double check as to why. As the race leaders come up towards us into the eye, you would suggest that Dan Camish has stretched the margin again. Yeah, that gap has definitely gone out, hasn't it? It's now 0.8 of a second, 8/10. So Camish appears to have the pace to hold off this charge. He did use boost on that last lap, I think. He's still got 3 laps left. Still one more than Chilton, so that gap is genuine on pace. And we're being told pit lane speeding for Aidan Moffat, so when it's not your race, it's not your race. Aidan's had a pretty torrid season, all told, so a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Aidan Moffat. We're on lap number 10 as you look there at Josh Cook getting himself now onto the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith. They're both on the mediums. Aaron then chasing on behind Chris Smiley, who is in 10th place, so the Toyotas are squabbling for 11th. And there Mikey Doble, look, back ahead of Sam Osborne then. Doble's on the softs, Osborne is on the medium tyre. They've been trading the place, and Mikey Doble back up into 14th. Yeah, so a good battle there, but of course Doble is behind his rivals in the independents. He's behind Dan Lloyd particularly, who's leading that in 8th place of the championship runners. Indeed so. As you look there at the Chilton-Rainford situation for 2nd and 3rd, Camish last time was 8/10 of a second ahead, and it does look as though he's building the gap yet further. Driving standards flag next to Dan Rowbottom for track limits as he hustles on in 6th place. Possibly feeling this is one that got away, but it wasn't a mega start, and Camish has done a really impressive job. He's been able to control things up front, stretching the margin when he needs to, and he's still got 3 laps of boost available, and the gap is up to 9/10 of a second. Although in fairness, some of that's being helped by the fact that Chilton's now going slower by defending from Rainford. Yeah, we saw a very defensive line into Paddock from Chilton and again into Druids, so that's really helping Camish stretch that gap. As the charge from Chilton to take the lead has gone, it's more about defensive 2nd place. On to Cooper Straight. Chilton then goes to the inside to try to cover off a move from Rainford. Morgan gets up the inside of Rainford as well, and he's going to go through for 3rd. Good move by Adam Morgan that. Rainford slightly hung out to dry on the outside. Another run between them. Rainford gets spat out onto the dirt. Adam Morgan goes through for 3rd. That's the 2nd brush he's had with somebody at Surtees, but Adam, who was Team Virtue's bin man this morning when we saw him in the paddock pulling out the rubbish, he's getting out his elbows as well as the rubbish, and he's up to 3rd. Well, that, we saw him putting the rubbish out, but that I wouldn't call Rainford rubbish. I don't think he deserves to be treated in the same way. But that's a questionable move nowadays. Under the current racing rules, you are supposed to leave a car's width of room on the outside of the bend. So in the old school racing, that would have been fair and in love and war to shove the car out wide. But I dare say that Adam Morgan maybe called in to see the clerk of course here in Watson for that. And certainly if you're Rainford, you'd be jumping up and down and screaming, he pushed me off. Indeed. So this might rumble on, is what we're saying, as up towards the line then comes Camish, and Chilton still in 2nd place, and the margin is back up to 1.2 seconds. It's Morgan 3rd ahead of Rainford, it's Ingram 5th ahead of Rowbottom, but maybe not for long in Dan's case, because Gordon Shedden is right there behind him. Now, Shedden, don't forget, medium tyre, Rowbottom soft, and Shedden's car all of a sudden looks the demonstrably quicker of the 2.
Yeah, very much so, doesn't it? It's come on very strong. This has been a great second half of the year for Speedworks and the Toyota Gazoo Racing. Whether you can account all of that to the switch of engines or just getting to develop the car, but Shedden's been very strong second half of the year.
As indeed, and you can also see that pace further back from Josh Cook, 22nd to 12th with a new M Sport engine put in overnight. We're on lap 12 out of 15, and Rowbottom's 6th place may not last to the end. Now, we've not touched on Ash Sutton for a while, but there he is, and he's about to go a place down against Chris Smiley. That is bad, bad, bad news for Sutton.
Just purely lack of laps with boost. But I guess you could say next race he'll have a load more laps, but unfortunately he really needed to be on the podium or win this race with a problem for Ingram, and that just hasn't happened. Ingram has maintained that 5th place all the way through this race on the medium tyre.
And with only 1 lap of boost, he's got even less available than Ash Sutton has, but Ingram has, as you say, maintained that 5th. He's a 2nd up the road over Rowbottom. So it's been another excellent effort by Tom Ingram in that Hyundai. Spencer Aldridge, his long-serving engineer, overseeing everything from the pit wall as the Restart Racing Hyundai of Chris Smiley then now up into 9th place comes through, and Ash Sutton's frustration is going to be palpable as Gordon Shedden again has a look to the inside of Dan Rowbottom into paddock. Couldn't do it. Lap 13 now.
Yeah, and Sutton hasn't used his boost. He's got the 2 last laps, 14 and 15 if he wants to do it. He's now back up the inside of Smiley into Druids, trying to get that place back. Smiley all the way around the outside very nicely, actually, with good grip all the way around, and then claims the line into Graham Hill, turn 3.
So what can Sutton do? It's going to be a full send up the inside. Smiley will know what's coming as they accelerate along Cooper Straight. And at the same time that Sutton's trying to regain the place, he's also got Aaron Taylor-Smith behind him looking to gain a place from Sutton. So this is a really tough battle to be in.
Yeah, and Josh Cook as well right there.
Yeah, Sutton's mate of years past. So here they come down to the right-hander of Hawthorn. Chris Smiley going well for 9th place.
Gap at the front has stayed at around that 8/10 mark, so barring a mechanical or a puncture, it looks like Camish has controlled this race really well.
Yeah, it's been a really impressive drive, hasn't it? It's stretched out and then it's decreased again, but Dan has always been in charge. Chris Smiley has been on the outright podium this year. He's heading for 9th at the moment. He's got Sutton behind him. This is Ash's view, who's running out of laps, not only in the race, but in the championship, to do anything about Tom, and he'll know that.
Yeah, he'll be feeling pretty depressed inside the car, I can tell you. That little bit of luck that he needed, misfortune for Ingram, just hasn't happened. And he hasn't had the pace to go forward, largely down to lack of boost, I think. Meanwhile, these two are still scrabbling it out, aren't they, over 2nd place, Chilton and Morgan. Rainford has dropped away, actually.
Yes, he has. He's never been able to make up the time, has he, after that contact with Morgan, which may be because of a bit of damage if the tracking or suspension was tweaked. But right now, Morgan on the back of Chilton, the 2 Team Virtue teammates going toe-to-toe as they accelerate in these Accelerate Prepare Hyundais out of Surtees. And further up the road, you've got Dan Camish then now on his 14th and penultimate lap there, working his way past the Nick Halstead Vauxhall Astra to lap him. 2nd and 3rd are together. Sutton, though, is back ahead of Smiley, who ran a bit wide coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Ash Sutton has retaken 9th place. Every little counts at this point, and Taylor-Smith comes up to have a go, does get on the inside of Smiley, have a big think about it, and then realised that wasn't on even for Aaron. But Cook is alongside Taylor-Smith. Look at the 2 Toyotas trade paint, and Cookie goes through. Really opportunistic move, brilliant.
Yeah, great stuff. That was good racing. Well, Sutton decided not to wait till the very end. He actually used his boost, and that's probably what got him back in front. And I think that was a good move.
This is the replay. Ash Sutton ahead is the sideways Smiley. That's why he ran wide at Graham Hill Band. And Chris having a big moment. He tried to come across and defend, and Ash says, no. I'll be taking this line, thanks.
And if you listen to the throttle, there wasn't a hint of a lift there from Ash Sutton. He kept his foot absolutely on the bulkhead.
So gained him a place, as right now we're on the last lap of race 1 of the day here at Brands Hatch, and Dan Camish has stretched that margin again. It's 1.2 seconds as you see the battle for 2nd place. Tom Chilton ahead of Adam Morgan, who's got rather fed up with being on the podium but not on that top step, but it ain't going to happen in this race. And there is Tom Ingram further enhancing his chances of taking a 2nd British Touring Car Championship title. He's 5th and Sutton is 9th. Good drive by Camish in the lead though.
Yeah, excellent drive, but of course Ingram Ingram's done this as well, using the medium tyre. He's the first of the medium tyres, so he's also got the advantage of the soft tyre to come. So it's all falling Ingram's way so far.
Sometimes you need the luck to ride with you, and it has happened for Tom pretty much over the course of the season. I'm struggling to think of the bad day that most drivers suffer at least once over the course of the season. Tom, I don't think, has had that bite in. He comes through Westfield now, then edging nearer not only to the back of the Power Max Astra to lap it, but also towards yet more points for the championship as he comes towards Stirling's. Out of which, Dan Camish, he's heading for a third victory of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship season. There's one corner to go. There's the run up towards the timing line. He's on the headlights to the team. It is round 28 of the championship, and it's win number 3 of the season for Dan Camish. Dan Camish wins race 1 of the day. Tom Chilton takes second, just a 10th up on Adam Morgan. Charles Rainsford is 4th, and Tom Ingram 5th across the line from Rowbottom, Shedden. Then it is going to be Dan Lloyd to win the independence contest, and Ash Sutton will be 9th at Flagfall.
Yeah, great drive by Camish. Absolutely nailed that one, from dropping the clutch and making the start to controlling the pace. Excellent drive from him. Nice little battle between Chilton and Morgan teammates at Team Virtue, but Ingram will be the happiest man out of our championship contenders. And of course Camish, for his trying to secure 3rd place in the championship as well, has gone very well indeed. Hill is coming through. He's down in 19th place.
This actually is the battle for 19th, Jake Hill versus Aidan Moffat. Moffat's had 2 pit stops. Of course, he had the black and orange enforced pit stop for the damage, only had his drive-through for pit lane speeding, so Jake Hill gains a place at the expense of his teammate because of those 2 pit stops, but they're both outside the points, and both of them will be massively frustrated. Not as disappointed as Daryl De Leon, of course, who never got into the race, having been on pole position. This is Jake Hill then for 19th place. That gives him a big kick in the contest to be 3rd in the championship. It puts him on the back foot, but you watch him come through in race 2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at least he's got the soft tyre to come, which we know he works really well on the BMW, but the BMW performance has been undone by sort of reliability and other issues. They look very strong all weekend.
So Dan Camish takes win number 3 of the season, win number 16 of his British Touring Car Championship career. And with Ash Sutton fighting for the championship, on occasions it's been easy to overlook Dan, but one should not, because we know how quick he is. It's not that many years ago that he was in the title fight. Indeed, the championship looked to be heading his way until the last couple of laps of the last race of the year on the Grand Prix circuit. And maybe that still haunts him, but he's exorcising the demons every year, and another good win. For Tom Ingram then, another step closer to the championship. He finishes 5th. He's got the harder medium tyre out of the way for the day. And Spencer Aldridge no doubt would have said, OK, where was Ash? 9th. The answer, that news will have further helped Tom's mood.
Definitely.
And Ash Sutton makes his way back to the pit lane. Again, frustrated. The first half of the year he was the championship leader. The second half has been all about Tom Ingram. Round 28 of the championship at Brands Hatch falls to Dan Camish, with Tom Chilton 2nd and Adam Morgan 3rd. 4th, Charles Rainsford, and championship leader Tom Ingram 5th, outscoring Ash Sutton in 9th. Between the two, Dan Rowbottom, Gordon Shedden, and the independent winning Dan Lloyd. Chris Smiley, 2nd independent, in 10th. 11th, going the way of Josh Cook from 22nd on the grid, ahead of Aaron Taylor-Smith, and then Senna Proctor. Mikey Doble, 14th. Sam Osborne, the last point scorer, with Dexter Patterson ahead of Max Buxton. Nick Hamilton, 18th, and then Jake Hill, 19th after his puncture. Aidan Moffat, after 2 enforced pit stops, comes next, and Nick Halstead a lap down. Poleman Daryl De Leon never getting into the race. So good news for Dan Camish in his quest to be 3rd in the championship. And this is how we stand. 37 points between Tom Ingram and Ash Sutton with 2 races to go. Dan Camish is 3rd ahead of Jake Hill. Then Dan Rowbottom 5th. It's Tom Chilton 6th with Adam Morgan, Charles Rainsford, Gordon Shedden and Aidan Moffat rounding out that top 10. Dan Lloyd is 10 ahead of Mikey Doble now in the independence contest, with Chris Smiley in 3rd. After that, you've got Dexter Patterson 4th. And it is a very happy Dan Camish, then race winner. And we'll be able to hear from Dan Camish as the winner of round 28 after the break. Let's look at the grid then for the penultimate round of the championship. It's Dan Camish as the race 1 winner on pole, with Tom Chilton lining up with him. They're on the medium tyre now, as is Adam Morgan, because you have to carry the medium, the harder tyre, into the second race if you're in the top 3. Charles Rainford's going to go from 4th. He's on the medium as well. Tom Ingram 5th, and he's on the soft. Then it's Dan Rowbottom, medium tyre. Gordon Shedden goes to the soft this time, and Dan Lloyd, you just heard from him, starting 8th ahead of Ash Sutton, who's on the medium again, and Chris Smiley starts 10th. 11th is where you find Josh Cook after his great first race. Teammate Aaron Smith lining up alongside, medium and soft rubber across the 2 Toyotas. Then it's Senna Proctor and Mikey Doble, soft and medium rubber respectively for them. On the 8th row, Sam Osborne, Dexter Patterson lining up with him. On the next row there is Max Buxton and Nicholas Hamilton. Jake Hill comes next after his puncture in race 1. Aidan Moffat, after damage in his drive-through, is alongside. Nick Halstead is penultimate on the grid, and this time Daryl De Leon should be in the race with the fresh engine on board after all the dramas that he suffered and didn't get into the first race of the day. So it sounds all very simple. Tom Ingram has to stay ahead of Ash Sutton, but hey, this is touring cars.
Well, yes, it's true, but Tom is taking no chances, so not surprisingly, he's starting on the soft tyre. He's the first car to do so. He's taking absolutely no chances. He wants to give himself the best possible chance of wrapping that title up in this race. Sutton's on the medium.
There is Ash Sutton on that medium tyre. You can see how many laps of boost they've got. 1 for Dan Camish, 2 for Tom Chilton. In terms of the championship rivals, 5 laps for Tom Ingram, and this time the full 8 for Ash Sutton. So progress should be made in that respect, but it's never simple, as we've been saying. So to the grid they come, and others to watch, of course, further back. Jake Hill and Daryl De Leon, both with points to prove after the dramas of race 1. Same is true of Aidan Moffat, of course. So the last few cars coming through clearways up to the grid. It is Dan Camish then at the very front. There at the very back is Daryl De Leon, who this time does come to the grid rather than having to bail to the pit lane, which is great after that engine change. There, Aidan Moffat's BMW slotting into place just a little bit further up the road, and then it's going to be all eyes on the lights as the penultimate round of the 2025 Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship is ready to go. 15 laps are ahead of us. Dan Camish starting on pole position. It's Tom Chilton alongside. It's Adam Morgan next, and then Charles Rainford 4th. Keep an eye to Ingram, keep an eye to Sutton, keep an eye on the lights. Then they go red for the penultimate time this year. Lights out, away we go, and a good getaway is made by Charles Rainford in the BMW, and Tom Chilton is away nicely as well, round the outside of Camish as they go towards paddock. Chilton leads, here comes Rainford picking them off on the outside. He clears Camish, he's going to have a run at Chilton up the hill as well in the BMW as Sutton accelerates up the hill in pursuit of Rowbottom. On the outside line is Rainford for Druids, and it's going to be Chilton has a big slide there, sends Adam Morgan out wide, and he tumbles down the field, having been on the podium in race 1. Jake Hill's made good progress already, but it's Chilton from Rainford as they accelerate onto Cooper Straight for the first time. You've got Camish 3rd, and Ingram's already picking his way through the traffic. He's 4th, he's 3rd, he's nearly 2nd.
Yeah, great starts by Chilton and Rainford round the outside. Camish with that unfavoured pole position starting point wasn't too happy. Contact here. We're on board with Ash Sutton. He's got Camish just in front of him. Camish needs to let him go, really.
He does, and Sutton's gone to the outside line into Hawthorns. He's also got Rowbottom right up behind him. So as Rainford defends from Ingram, Camish needs, as you say, to let Sutton go, and they all concertina into Westfield for the first time. So Ingram is importantly ahead of Sutton, so that's enough to give him the championship. But we've got another 14 and a bit laps to go, so it certainly isn't over. Chilton's getting away up the road, though, and Rainford is now having to defend from everybody else. This is looking back from Ingram's car, coming through Sterling's. That's Camish behind us.
Well, Camish has got to either attack Ingram or let Sutton through, surely.
Down they come through clearways for the first time. There is Ingram. So Camish awaits the call. Of course, behind Sutton is Rowbottom, and it's Camish versus Rowbottom for 3rd in the championship, so that's another battle to factor in. Rowbottom, though, is under attack from Shedden. Look in the Toyota as they come across the line, and Ingram has a big dive on the inside of Rainford. That's going into paddock. That's for 2nd place, and Ingram goes through. Napa have got to make that switch to give Sutton half a chance now.
Clean as a whistle. That was a lovely pass, a classic dive up the inside, and that's the beauty of the soft tyre. That's why he's chosen the soft tyre for this race, to make sure he can escape the pack and have the pace that he knows he's got in that Hyundai.
So Dan Camish still defending from Ash Sutton. Could Tom Ingram win the championship with a race win? He's behind Tom Chilton. He's closing on Chilton. He's on the quicker tyre. could it be win number 7 of the season and the title in the one race? We'll find out as things unwind. Now Sutton on the boost, comes up to have a go at Camish, but he's got to do it on the boost. Camish lets him go, slots back in behind. So a place gained at the start of the lap for Ingram, a place gained now for Sutton. But the way things are panning out at the moment, I would be surprised if Ingram weren't to win the race here.
Yeah, it makes sense though to swap over. Remember, Camish was race 1 winner. A has to start on medium tyre, the harder of the 2 available, but also he only has 1 lap of boost, whereas Sutton has the maximum of 8.
So the Hyundais are getting themselves closer and closer. That's Rowbottom defending from Shedden. Look, the Hyundais are together. So there'll be Spencer Aldridge on the radio to Tom Ingram. There'll be Barry Plowman on the radio to Tom Chilton. Are they going to make Tom Ingram work for it, or let Tom Chilton hand over the race lead? They come over the line now, so another lap lead for Chilton. Up towards paddock they go. Remember, if you lead a lap, you get a point. Inevitably, I think Ingram is going to go through. It just depends when that switch is made. Possibly, they want to see what the Fords are up to. But right now, Sutton is the best placed of them. So he is certainly pushing forward. There's only Rainford really now between Sutton and Ingram. So the Team Virtue engineers could do with making the call.
Yeah, as it stands at the moment, the championship will of course go to... Here comes the change. Up the inside goes Ingram. Chilton's happy to let him go. Ingram also has fastest lap and will get a point for that, and also a point for leading the race at the end of this lap. So he's got all the cherries lined up to win the championship in this race.
Chilton's work is not done yet, though. He's let Ingram go, yes, but what he could do with now is just dropping back a little bit and holding up Rainford, who in turn will hold up Sutton and let Ingram get away out of range.
No, I think he'll go with him. He'll go with him because he knows Ingram's got the pace to disappear on those soft tyres. They're all on the medium, so I think he'll just go as quick as he can rather than try and back up the pack, because they're not going to catch Ingram anyway.
Let's find out as they come through Stirlings. The BMW in 3rd is Rainford. This is Sutton's view, then in 4th. He's not yet close enough to make a move against the BM as they come under the vehicle bridge, down through Clearways. There is Ash Sutton then going through the corner, and behind him still is Camish, who in his own battle with Rowbottom for 3rd in the championship is ahead of his teammate. Rowbottom still busy having to fend off Gordon Shedden, and also then Senna Proctor next in the queue. So Ingram goes through. The lead is now 9/10 of a second. He's just got the lap lead point as well to add to everything else, and now we'll see whether he can continue to build that lead. Although the first race, remember how the medium cars did come on strong again as the race wore on. Daryl De Leon picking his way up the order. He's alongside Mikey Doble. It's Dexter Patterson's Cooper just up the road ahead. So De Leon is still trying to gain ground. He's up the inside. That's going to be the outside for Graham Hill-Bend, and this little battle that he's currently involved in is for 18th place. Yeah,
the other guy that started the back that we haven't mentioned is Jake Hill, who started 19th and is up to 12th. He's at the back of this pack, pack in front of this anyway.
Yeah, he did a lot of the work, as I'd said, on the first lap. He was on his toes going up through Druid, certainly, and still pushing on with only one more race in his immediate touring car career before he heads off to pastures new for next season. Sutton now makes the move for 3rd, dives to the inside of Rainford into Westfield, gets the job done. So through goes Ash Sutton. Now let's see what he can do relative to Tom Chilton. Remember, Sutton's got a lot more boost, and also up and past Rainford now has gone Dan Camish. Rowbottom is on the back with the BMW, so Rainford drops back into the clutches of Robo, who challenges on the inside at Stirlings and does go by. Rainford out wide. Proctor and Shedden are going to be on their toes to get past as well as Sutton accelerates down to Clearways.
Well, Rainford, I think, is hemorrhaging places because he's desperate not to get involved in it. He has a little bit of a moment coming through Hawthorns, gets an oversteer there. That's enough to lose momentum, and through goes Sutton, and then the others follow through. But of course, Rainford is concentrated on the Jack Sears Trophy.
And a big moment, and that is Rainford off the road and into the barriers, and oh so nearly up onto 2 wheels. Charles Rainford's race is run. That changes the focus in the Jack Sears Trophy, and that will change the focus in race control as well, because we may now need to neutralise the race to move that car, and then people are going to bunch up, and that's going to be really interesting. So keep an eye on the flags around the circuit. Ingram leads the way. He's got the fastest lap of the race, which is a new lap record. He's got the lap lead point. He's on target for another race win, but that all presupposes we stay green, and Ian Watson, the clerk of the course, will be assessing what to do.
I can't believe we are going to stay without the safety car. The safety car is now out. That car is off in a dangerous pace at Paddock Hill Bend. Little bit strange, because it was a strange lap. He had that moment at Hawthorns, then lost a load of places, and then goes off at the first fast corner on the next lap. I wonder if that was the result of someone else coming through, or whether he had a problem. We'll hopefully get some replays, but of course this will now back up the whole pack behind Ingram, and now in fact Chilton can play a little bit of a role in just letting Chilton get a good restart and let him get away, but a chance for everyone to catch their breath.
Just a little wisp of smoke maybe at the back of Charles Rainford's car as he was disappearing off the road. Might have been because of the spin, might have been something more sinister like a tyre going, but we'll try and see on a replay. So the safety car deployed. It's the 18th visit to the circuit of the safety car this year, and Tom Ingram's advantage will shrink. But the good news is he's got one of his teammates then looking after him, as it were, protecting him in second place. Charles Rainford is okay. He's out of the car. Now let's have a look from this angle. There's the BMW look on the inside. Comes up towards paddock. Tap in the back. And then another tap. So there was definite contact twice. That's what did it.
Yes, it was a double assist, wasn't it? I think... yeah, I think possibly having seen him lose places, Shedden was anxious to get past, because when you see another car that's hobbled, you want to get past as well.
Yeah. I think it was Taylor Smith, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, 40 Taylor Smith. I thought, was it 40 Smith? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Taylor Smith. You're anxious to get past because you sense the wounded animal, if you like, and he was probably a bit too eager, was Aaron Taylor Smith then at that point.
So I'm going to be a lap or two while the car is moved. Charles Rainford okay, he's, as you saw, out of it safe and sound, walks away. Safety car brings the order through then, and it is Tom Ingram ahead of Tom Chilton, Ash Sutton third, fourth Camish, fifth Rowbottom, sixth Shedden, Proctor seventh, Cook eighth, Taylor Smith ninth, so he was slightly delayed in that, and 10th is Jake Hill. This helps Jake a little bit, bunches everybody up ahead, and he can make more progress when the race gets back underway. Remember that he is on medium tyre. So we are on lap 6. We are under safety car conditions here at Brands Hatch.
This is on board with Ingram. Watch the start. Lovely start. Matches the revs, clutch, drop and throttle perfectly. Off he goes, gets a good run. Defends the inside. Got a teammate in front of him, Morgan. Remember, he's on the soft tyres, as Ingram. That's why he can turn nice and tight. Slots in behind Camish on the inside. Out goes Morgan. Look at the grip that Ingram's got on those soft tyres. It's lovely.
Morgan recovered to 13th, by the way, when the safety car came out. This is Sutton.
Sutton on further back, an extra row back, so he gets past Shedden. Now you've got Ingram on the inside, a little bit of rubbing with Rowbottom into turn 1. Ash Sutton will be thinking, right, I'll probably go to the outside here and hope there's a gap. But then there's a concertina, so he goes to the inside, tries to follow Ingram through. Look at the traction Ingram has off the corner. The soft tyre is so advantageous, especially at the start of the race. Round the outside, all the way around the outside, side by side with Rowbottom is Sutton. He tries to go around the outside of Camish as well. He won't quite pull this one off, but again off the corner, Ingram has great traction and drive. Camish stayed in front at this point.
I made it hard for Sutton at that point as well.
Yeah, he just nudged across in front of him, didn't he? But as you say, Camish is trying to get that third place, so doesn't want to give up. You know, he could let one car through and end up letting Rowbottom through, couldn't he? He did let Ash Sutton through later on in the race quite cleanly. So I think at this point they're just trying to keep their position.
So Ash Sutton then is now in third place. Tom Ingram, race leader. Their engineers will be busy telling them about the state of play in terms of the resumption of the race. Charles Rainford's car is out of the gravel, so it's not long, I think, before we go racing again. You've kind of got two parts to this. One is to move the car, the other is to put the Recticel barriers back in place, but that's not far from doing. So maybe just one more lap. There is the BMW. Battered and bruised, being brought back to WSR, which is having a pretty torrid day. That is now, if you like, one strike for each of the 4 drivers in a race and a half.
Yeah, it is. And when you consider how successful they were at the start of the year, it's a complete contrast, isn't it? And now, as it stands in the Jack Sears, Darryl de Leon is back in front by 5 points.
So Charles Rainford's car is removed onto the old rallycross circuit at the bottom of Tumbledown Hill, and the safety car comes by. So the recovery vehicle is away. I think we should be able to go back racing this time around. The order then is Ingram, Chilton, Sutton third, then it's Canish, Rowbottom, Shedden down to 6th. Proctor is 7th, ahead of Cook, Taylor, Smith and Hill 10th. You've got Moffat 11th, ahead of Chris Smiley, who's the leading independent. Morgan's back up to 13th after his drums at Druids. Sam Osborne 14th and Dan Lloyd bags the last point. De Leon is 16th from Patterson, Doble, Buxton, Halstead and Hamilton 21st. Safety car potentially in this time. We'll wait and see when those lights go out, but I don't think there's any more work being done over at paddock. So now Tom Ingram has to work out how to extend the advantage once more.
Restart rules will mean they'll all queue up nice and tight in a crocodile until they come all the way round Clearways and Clark Curve and get to the go board, which is at the start of the straight. So there'll be a close pack, and Chilton then can allow, if you like, Ingram to have the racing line at the start of the lap and not challenging him. That'll be the best way for the restart if he wants to help his teammate win this championship. Lights are out.
Ingram has used one of his laps worth of boost right now. Chilton has got a lap remaining, in other words he's used one of his 2, and Ash Sutton has still got 6 laps available. So Sutton on the back of Chilton, and he knows he needs to strike going into paddock before Ingram builds up an advantage. This is where Chilton very definitely can help his teammate, and Sutton will be wise to that as the cars come out of Stirling's. Then the race will be extended slightly because of the safety car intervention. We can add on a maximum of 3 laps for the caution periods, and we're ready to go racing once more here at Brands Hatch then as the cars come down towards Clearways. We understand from the total medical team Charles Rainford is all okay, and the green flag is in hand, ready to be waved at Tom Ingram. But Tom Chilton's job now is to fend off Sutton on the run up towards Paddock Hill Bend as we are set to go racing once more at Brands Hatch. The green flag drops, Tom Ingram bolts away. What can Sutton do on the run up towards Paddock? Chilton covers off the inside line. There's a whole queue of Napa Racing Fords right on the back of Chilton as they come through the corner. Look at Jake Hill in the background, up alongside 2 of the Toyotas. Hill on an absolute mission. That safety car has been great news for him. Ingram starting to build the gap as Chilton now defends.
Yeah, everybody queued up on the inside. Chilton was always going to take that line to not even give Ash Sutton a thought of going down the inside. I'm surprised nobody really tried the outside move there.
Through Surtees they come on the Grand Prix loop, lap 9 out of 18 then. Look, Ingram getting away, and Chilton is most definitely defending from Sutton. Hill to the outside line of the Toyota there, but Aaron Taylor-Smith tries to fend him off, but Jake's got the run down the hill, and the BMW should go through. So Ingram leads the way, through Hawthorns they come. Chilton still second, and Sutton has not found a way by.
Yeah, Hill is absolutely flying. That was a great restart by him. Proctor trying really hard to get past Shedden further up the road, but not getting away through at the moment.
To Sheen Curve they come, on board with Sutton. There's a driving standards flag being ready for Josh Cook, by the way, as they come into Stirling's. So Ingram is building the race lead. He is heading towards the win, potentially. He's heading towards the championship in this race. Sutton knows that. Even if he can clear Chilton, it's still a hard task to get up with Ingram on that softer tyre. But Ash Sutton is not giving up. He's trying everything. He has got Camish tucked up behind him. Behind Camish there is Rowbottom, then Shedden, Proctor, Cook, Taylor, Smith and Hill. As they started the lap, it shuffled a bit with Jake gaining ground. This is Mikey Doble's view. Darryl De Leon ahead as they come across the line. Ingram leads by nearly 2 seconds on that restart lap. 1.8 when the cars came over the line. And Adam Morgan there, look, he's trying to squeeze his way up the inside of Moffat, and drama at Druids. That's Taylor Smith off the road and into the gravel, and this will be another interruption.
Yeah, definitely another safety car following that as they came together on the run up to Druids. A clash of lines, and when you're on the brakes there, a slightest touch and you're off. Racing until they get to the safety car boards, and Senna Proctor trying to get through there.
So it's all up at Druids where Aaron Taylor-Smith's Toyota is off the road. The safety car is called again. So our second safety car is called for, and the race once again is neutralised. Everybody slows. This allows the race to carry on, albeit in control conditions. So Tom Ingram, having built the gap, will have to do it all over again. And
yeah, well,
Tom
Chilton did an excellent job, didn't he, of the restart on the first lap, of allowing him to get that gap. Aaron Taylor-Smith, some would say that's justice for his move on Charles Rainford earlier, but we'll see what happened.
So Aaron out of the car, and he's okay. Let's have another look. This is earlier on in the previous lap. Josh Cook nibbling at the back of Aaron Taylor-Smith and making the car a bit lighter. So there was already a little bit of contact there. And then going up toward Cook goes for the inside. Aaron Smith moves over, but isn't clear of the front of the car. And there's a touch. Would be interesting to be a fly on the wall in the debrief at Toyota Gazoo Racing UK after that. Quite a hit into the wall, thankfully not on the driver's side for Aaron Taylor-Smith, but not much speed scrubbed off before it got to the gravel and into the barrier there. Yeah, not what you want to see across teammates, is it? But, you know, it may be that Aaron was a little bit riled by that tap from Cook earlier when he lost that rear bumper and decided to aggressively defend into Druids, but he wasn't clear of the front, and that's where the touch took place. But you can't actually blame Cookie for that. That's Chilton, who's got a problem up at Druids, and the car has stopped, so that's going to give Ash Sutton second place. But Tom Chilton's car has ground to a halt seemingly on the outside up at Druids. It's coasting down the hill. He's trying to get it fired up properly again, but Chilton has got a problem. So Ingram leads, Sutton behind him, and drama for Chilton, who is trickling down the hill. So something has gone horribly wrong for the car that was second, and it's happened under the safety car. Well, I'm sure there were lots of people in the Team Virtue awning as soon as they saw that stopped car, just for a second, split second, worried it was it could have been Ingram. It wasn't, of course, and Chilton is trying to get back to the back of the paddock and pull off there, which he does. But it's his race done, come what may. So Tom Chilton is out of the race. The barrier there you see opening to let the car either be driven in or pushed in. So this is on board with Sutton, and look, Chilton's got problems heading up the hill. The car slows. Now Ash doesn't go past him because he knows he's not allowed to under a yellow flag, but Chilton knows he's got a problem and does exactly the right thing. He pulls out of the way. In fact, that sort of lane there that he goes to is the motorbike penalty aspects. If you get a penalty in bike racing, you use that for a slower lap, and Chilton, admittedly hugely disappointed, but has got the presence of mind to get out of everybody's way, not hold anybody up, not do the wrong thing, and just let the field go by. And having done that, coasts down the hill and into retirement. But there were some worried faces at Team Virtue. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that car will quickly be moved while we're under safety car anyway for the Aaron Taylor-Smith recovery. But of course, it now means that the two championship rivals are first and second, even though Ingram has that nice 42-point lead. But he's on the soft tyres and will have the big advantage at the restart. But he won't be able to dawdle about, will he? No, and Ash Sutton has got Dan Camish right up behind him as the cars come along Cooper Straight. So although we've lost Chilton, that car's already been towed out of harm's way. It's just getting the Toyota out of the Druids gravel. We understand it's an alternator that has gone down for Chilton, so alternator issues Chilton out of the race. That's the news from the pit lane. As you see there, Tom Ingram keeping the warm from the pressures up in the tyres. There is Jake Hill, who is now in 7th place, and he's not done yet either. No, and again, the safety car will close them all up nicely for him. He was great on that last restart. Obviously, he's well inside the top 12 for the reverse grid anyway now, so lots of opportunity perhaps for Jake Hill in race 3 to bow out in style from his BTCC career at present anyway. And Dan Lloyd is leading the Independence Championship from Mikey Doval, who's only 1 point ahead of Chris Smiley. So it's very, very close still. Dan Lloyd there is getting ready to go racing once more as the cars will work their way again down towards clearways shortly. And the pace is starting to quicken. The lights are still on though, so there's going to be one more lap just to get that Toyota out of harm's way. There it is, work nearly done. And that will go behind the barrier, and the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK team will assess the damage as soon as and work out what can be done for later on, and then Josh and Aaron will have a word with one another about all of that. So there is the car nearly out of the way, and we ought to be able to go racing again at the end of this lap. Yes, if you're Christian Dick, you'd say to your drivers that was all a bit unnecessary really, guys, wasn't it? Yeah, there were incidents between teammates, and you never want to get involved with your teammate. Right, safety car in this time, we're being told. Jake Hill 7th, the next one to watch. There is Tom Ingram having a long look in the mirror to see exactly where people are now. He doesn't have his rear gunner in Tom Chilton. That's Spencer Aldridge, Tom's engineer. He'll be on the radio to continue the conversation. Tom possibly asking who's where, what tyres are people on around me, getting all the information he needs ready for the resumption of the race.
Barry Plowman standing next to him, engineer for Chiltern, has taken his headset off because he's got no further input, has he?
No. Well, there's no power coming from the car either to help, so Barry Plowman's task is done. Now there is Jake Hill. How much further up the order might he be able to get? 7th is where he is currently, and Senna Proctor his next target as the cars turn now down towards Westfield. So lap 13, but no extra laps added on. It's only one safety car interruption that will be remained for. So Ingram and Sutton are going to be nose to tail when we go racing again. And
Jake Hill will have the soft tyre for race 3 as well, because he's done the first 2 races on the medium, so he'll be looking really to go out in a fine way at the end. Right, let's watch the restart. We've got all the cameras on Ingram's car, all the cameras on Sutton's car. It's going to be very close, but Ingram has the tyre advantage and possibly the speed advantage. He's just got to get it absolutely right, but he's going to have to be giving it 100% on this lap. Wait for the go. On board with Sutton. They get to the board and off they go.
Green flag is waved, then we go back racing here at Brands Hatch as they come across the line. It is Ingram ahead of Sutton. It's Camish third, trying to defend from everybody as they dive into the corner. And in 4th place, Gordon Shedden then with Proctor squeezing up the inside of Rowbottom, and he clears him. He goes 5th, good move. This is Jake Hill up the inside line as well. Rowbottom's car gets a little bit crossed up, possibly with contact. Another Toyota goes deep into Druids. That was Josh Cook. Hill up alongside Rowbottom as they drop down the hill. Everybody going for the same piece of tarmac as Ingram leads Sutton.
Well, Proctor's super aggressive on that restart, really barging his way through, but opening the door. He got a reprimand in race 1, I think, for contact. I think it was with Moffat, but really opening the door aggressively there to move through.
Yeah, most people seem to have a go at Moffat in race 1 when you look at the judicial reports at the end of the race. But there is Tom Ingram, and look, half a lap in, and look at the gap he's pulled.
Yeah, he's nailed the restart, using the soft tyre, pulled out an advantage straight away. Even a fired-up Ash Sutton just can't go with him.
There is Dan Camish fending off Senna Proctor, and Proctor having clear Rowbottom. Accelerates up the hill. Rowbottom also still behind Shedden, but Proctor is the one that's really benefited on this restart, gaining a couple of places. Sutton then launching himself over the curb into view, then Camish, then Proctor. And of course it's now up to Senna to try to shuffle himself forward if he can. It'd be quite nice for Virtue to get that Hyundai ahead of Ash Sutton. They don't really need to, but it would just help a little. And it's certainly for points in the championship as well. I know we're focusing on drivers, but there are teams and manufacturers' points as well. So with Chiltern out, Morgan delayed, it's up to Proctor now to help Team Virtue and Hyundai as over the timing line they go, and Ingram's advantage is 1.6 seconds on lap 14. We've got 4 to go.
Yeah, and of course Proctor is on that soft tyre as well, so that's why he's got the advantage over Camish and Sutton ahead of him. As is Shedden, in fairness, he's on the soft tyre as well. You can see the difference. It's night and day, really, in terms of mechanical grip.
It's Gordon Shedden, who's having a really spirited race here on the back of Senna Proctor. He's been up and down the order a little bit within the top 6, but that Toyota going well. In the background, Jake Hill, who's kind of got stuck now after the most recent safety car period. He's, of course, got some bigger names to get past, and he can't find a way past Rowbottom. This is looking back from Mikey Doble's car at Darrell de Leon, and they've switched on this lap. In fact, Mikey Doble has got past the BMW.
Good effort. Mikey Doble just not giving up, fighting till the end for the Jack Sears.
Which Dan Lloyd is ahead in terms of points, and in the race Chris Smiley is ahead in the independents as they go through the right-hand of Westfield. That's Dexter Patterson getting on at the tail of Darrell de Leon, nearly unsettling the BMW, but Darrell is able to defend as they climb up now through Dingle-Dell. Driving standards flag going for the Nick Halstead, Cooper rather, at the end of the lap as through Sterling's come to Leon. There is Sutton, and you can see he's getting away from Camish, who's busy defending from Proctor here. There is Hill, who's about to come up to have a go at Rowbottom, who possibly got a tag in the tail there. You saw the car snap sideways all of a sudden. Dan controls it. Jake Hill right behind him and possibly to make a move up towards Paddock. Can't really commit that time, so slots back in behind the Ford as they go around Paddock. Way up the curve, though, is Josh Cook running in 8th place.
Yeah, aggressive drive by Josh Cook. Yeah, of course, Mikey Doble in the independents, but passing Darrell de Leon, who's in the Jack Sears. Lots of trophies up for grabs this weekend.
Yeah. And there still will be some up for grabs in race 3. I know we're almost out the situation where Tom Ingram is champion, but there'll be things on the line in race 3 as Proctor has a great move up the inside of Camish from one side of the road to the other, goes darting through on the inside, and he's done it. Gordon Shedden tried to go as well, but he couldn't. Camish is on the lights, but Proctor has done it. He's made that move, and Jake Hill, look, he's under attack from Josh Cook. So after all the effort the BMW was making early on, now Jake just seems to be struggling because Cook goes through on the inside.
Yeah, well, maybe Jake Hill used the best of his tyres early in this race, but he's still in a great position for race 3 when will have the soft tyre.
So the race leader, Tom Ingram, working his way down again towards clearways up to the end of the lap, as you see Camish now versus Shedden. This is for 4th place, the 2 hot hatches, if you like, Ford Focus ahead of the Toyota Corolla, and Tom Ingram is bringing the race leading Hyundai up through Clark Curve, and he will put 16 laps in the book this time. 2 to go for the race leader. There he is. Ingram goes through. In other words, he's 2 laps away from title number 2. In 2nd place going through is Ash Sutton. He's given it his all this weekend. Indeed, he did so at Silverstone and at Donington. But in the second half of the season, that Hyundai has just looked such a strong car. And again, the Tom Ingram, Spencer Aldridge combination, I know we say it a lot, but it is true. They work so well together. It's like one of the paddock's best double acts, isn't it? As Camish tries to fend off Shedden here. Yeah,
let's see if Shedden does the same move into Sterling Surtees as Proctor did, sending it out the inside lane. Camish defends this time. I think Camish is struggling a little bit with those medium tyres. That was a great pass by Senna Proctor on the last lap. He absolutely hurled the car up the inside and got it stopped on the apex. Again, soft tyre against medium. Camish struggling on the medium. Shedden on the soft as well, trying to follow through with Proctor, who's disappeared up the road.
And Proctor, Smiley and Sutton all being warned about track limit offences at Paddock and Graham Hill Bend on that previous lap. So a lap and a half to go for Tom Ingram riding here. It's the Mikey Doble Cooper goes through out of Westfield, and we've got there the fight still, Camish versus Shedden. Meanwhile, Dan Lloyd still trying to press on. Mikey Doble up behind him, so Mikey taking the Cooper into the fight. Here comes Shedden then to try to make the move on the run down towards clearways on the outside. He needs the switch back to the inside line, heading out of the corner, and the gap is just about there for Shedden. Onto the last lap they go on the boost. It's Gordon, then he's going to clear the Ford. Nice move. Gordon Shedden goes through. Rowbottom fancies his chances of squeezing past Dan Cam as well, but he can't do it on the inside at Paddock. Great move by Shedden.
One more lap for Tom Ingram to become the 2025 British Touring Car Champion. I'm sure he's going to have no problem doing it. Further behind, everyone's still battling.
And it is Dan Camish, having lost out to Shedden, who's under attack from Rowbottom, Cook and Hill. This takes you down to 8th place then as the cars come through Graham Hill Bend. But as they accelerate onto the Grand Prix loop, Ingram is getting closer to his 2nd championship and will do it with a race to spare. Ash Sutton, their 2nd, Senna Proctor 3rd, and Gordon Shedden up to 4th. Winner in that reverse grid race at Oak Park. Getting away though here from Camish. Then it's Rowbottom and Hill's coming back at Cook.
Ingram is going to win this championship in fine style with a win. The perfect way to do it in front of the Team Virtue fans and everybody that's worked so hard to put this team together.
It's been a tough season off track for the Ingrams. It's been a brilliant season on track, and Tom Ingram has got Sterling's and then really Clark Curve to go. He is on target for a 7th victory of the season, and more importantly for a 2nd British Touring Car title. He was twice an independent champion, and he comes out of Clark Curve. For the 2nd time, the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship is won by Tom Ingram. The checkered flag is waved. Tom Ingram celebrates in style as he comes across the line. He's done it. It'll be all smiles in the car. Spencer Aldridge, his engineer, is all smiles in the garage, and it is a delighted Tom Ingram.
Tom Ingram gives a big lock-up as he goes across the line in celebration. Respect from Ash Sutton, his big rival. Lovely to see that. The two of them, big rivals on the track, respecters off it, but only one man could win, and it's going to be, it is Tom Ingram, who has driven splendidly all year.
Let's see whether we can interrupt the emotion. Tom Ingram, British Touring Car Champion. Well done, Tom. It's the obvious question, but how does that one feel?
Oh, mate. Oh, my gosh. That is an absolutely amazing feeling.
And a champion's drive, Tom, to win the title and win the race. I mean, it doesn't get much better, does it?
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. As I cannot put into words just how special this feeling is after everything that's gone on. Team Virtue, what have we done? Come on!
Tom, well done. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Tom Ingram, British Touring Car Champion. He'll compose himself, he'll make sentences for Louise in due course. But Tim, you've been there, you understand how much this means.
Yeah, it's huge. And every time we have a winner, every year it chokes me up because I know how much goes into it. I'm so pleased for him. It has been a tough, emotional year. It's hard enough trying to win a championship, but when there are things going on personally in your life, it's even harder, and no wonder he's hugely emotional. But what a fantastic drive. You know, he's been in the top 3 of the championship 6 of the last 7 years. And everyone felt like, you know, when was this second championship coming? It's long overdue, and I'm so glad he's got it. He's been absolutely the most deserving driver to win it this year.
Absolutely right, and he's been so composed all weekend, but there the emotion spills over. You've seen in the pit lane, Laura Drysdale, Tom's long-standing girlfriend, who worked so hard behind the scenes to help Tom find the money, find the sponsorship to go racing. She's been a big part of this story as well, from Tom coming into the championship to now being a double British Touring Car Champion. And Spencer Aldridge, his engineer, they were together at Speedworks, they've been together at Team Virtue, and so much of it is done on the track by this man, but so much of it is done off track by Spencer.
Definitely, you win as a team. They've been together a long time, they know each other, understand each other. We said at the top of the programme how important that relationship is, with its whether it's with him and Spencer, Spenny, or whether it's with Tony Carosa and Ash Sutton. It's such an important part of racing.
So Tom Ingram is celebrating. He's also having to do the correct thing by adding to the pickup and going offline. He will get to the pit lane and we'll hear from him once more. Round 29 of the championship secures the championship for race winner Tom Ingram, his 7th win of the season, with Ash Sutton second, both in the race and in the championship fight. Senna Proctor takes third from Gordon Shedden and Dan Camish. It's Dan Rowbottom 6th from Jake Hill and Josh Cook. Aidan Moffat 9th, ahead of Adam Morgan, recovering for 10th. 11th is where you find Chris Smiley ahead of Sam Osborne. Smiley therefore the winning independent. Darryl DeLeon 13th from Mikey Doble, who got ahead of Dan Lloyd at the end, and Dexter Patterson just outside the point 16th from Max Buxton and Nick Halstead. Then Nicholas Hamilton in 19th, and we lost Tom Chilton, Aaron Taylor-Smith and Charles Rainford, of course. So there's one more race to go, but we know already who is the champion. It is Tom Ingram, who after 29 rounds is the champion with a 42-point cushion over Ash Sutton. But the fight's still on for third. Dan Camish ahead of Jake Hill. Dan Rowbottom is 5th. It's Adam Morgan 6th from the non-scoring Tom Chilton. Charles Rainford is 8th ahead of Gordon Shedden. And Senna Proctor rounds out that top 10. In the independents, 8 points now between Dan Lloyd and Mikey Doble with a race to go. Chris Smiley still in touch, but he can't outscore Dan Lloyd seemingly in the championship fight. Dexter Patterson is 4th, Nick Hamilton is in 5th. And there's also the Jack Sears Trophy. So, bad day for Darryl DeLeon in race 1, bad day for Charles Rainford from race 2. It's Darryl back ahead, and 5 points between the 2 BMW drivers, with one more race to go. Let's look at the grid then for the final race of the season. Aidan Moffat on pole position and Josh Cook with him at the front. They've got full boost and they're on soft tyres. Jake Hill is on the soft tyres as well. He's got 7 laps of boost, and Dan Rowbottom on mediums has 6 laps of boost. Then it's Dan Camish, he's on medium tyres. Gordon Shedden likewise. The next row of the grid is Senna Proctor and Ash Sutton, who is on soft but only 2 laps of boost. The champion is going to start 9th. Tom Ingram, teammate Adam Morgan alongside. 11th is Chris Smiley, and then Sam Osborne will go from 12th ahead of Darryl DeLeon and Mikey Doble, also in that independent fight, don't forget. Dan Lloyd next, independent championship leader. Dexter Patterson lining up alongside him, ahead of Max Buxton and Nick Halstead. You've got Nick Hamilton on row 10 with Tom Chilton, one to watch coming forward, and 2 more quick guys at the back, Aaron Taylor-Smith and Charles Rainford. So the cars making their way Down towards the grid. Doesn't seem 5 minutes until we're here for the opening round. Season's flown by.
It certainly has. It's been drama, excitement all the way through, and I'm sure this race is going to deliver as well. But look at that. The first three on the grid, all with the soft tyre and all with near maximum boost as well. So we're set for a humdinger there. Ingram's got the championship settled, and although he's on the medium tyre and not much boost, I'm sure he'll be charging. And of course, who can rule out Sutton, 8th on the grid, but soft tyres and plenty of boost. And of course, he won the third race. Well, 2 laps of boost, I guess, but he won the third race here last year in fine style. He ran away with it. So don't count him out.
And you'd never rule out Josh Cook, do you? And he's on softs, and he's got full boost of 8 laps worth on the front of the grid. Jake Hill, though, he's got to be the man to beat. Jake
should be the favourite, but we're not making any predictions for this last race, David, are we?
Far from it. No, we've been spot off all year in our predictions, so let's keep sitting on the fence. To the grid they come, then, fans getting the best vantage point they can around the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. The light is starting to fade, of course. There will be the race and championship presentations on the track at the end of this. Which normally take place in the dark with the fireworks and the lights all adding to the atmosphere. It's thankfully been a dry and sunny day. Not the warmest, but it's been dry at Brands Hatch. We've had some pretty wet finals days, but for Motorsport Vision, the circuit owners, it's been a good crowd here and some good racing all weekend for them to enjoy. Aidan Moffat will start the last round of the championship then from pole position. Charles Rainford, his teammate, last on the grid. Field are back then. Everybody looks towards the lighting gantry for one last time. Let's go racing in the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. Moffat launches away, so does Jake Hill up the inside of Josh Cook to go second on the run towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Moffat will lead the way, Hill second, Cook third, and then the Napa Racing Fords strategically all ahead of the Team Virtue Hyundai's bar one, and that is that Sam Osborne needs to try to get up through the ranks, but you've got 3 Fords ahead of all the Hyundais as they round Druids for the first time.
Predictably good rear wheel starts from both the BMWs, Moffat from pole and Jake Hill from third up to second.
Out of Graham Hill Bend they come along Cooper Straight. Dan Lloyd's view, of course, thinking independent championship, but up the inside goes Aaron Taylor-Smith. Charles Rainford has gone by as well as they break for Surtees, turn into that left-hander. Lloyd trying to keep out of trouble, but not let too many people go by. He can afford to let manufacturer entries through, not independent.
No, he's got to really have his thinking head on all the way through this race.
So we need to be looking for the Chris Smiley Hyundai, through it goes, as well as Dan Lloyd's car. Dexter Patterson is ahead of Mikey Doble. That's bad news for Doble, good news for Lloyd, taking points away from Doble. And Chris Smiley's had a good day in the independents as wide at Westfield. There goes Jake Hill. Josh Cook tries to fight back as the cars now make the run again up towards Sheen Curve. So it is Moffat in the lead and Jake Hill with a bit of a queue behind him.
Yeah, despite them being on the soft tyres, it's a little bit cooler now. Remember, the BMW just taking that little bit longer to get the tyres up to temperature. Jump start potentially, or a start investigation for Aidan Moffat, our leader.
Up towards the line comes now Josh Cook looking for a way past Jake Hill. Moffat then trying to get away. We'll no doubt get a replay of the start to look at what he did or didn't do. But in towards Paddock Hill Bend for second place. Hill ahead of Cook, and then it's Ash Sutton in fourth, walloping the curb, trying to go to the outside line now. Up the inside goes Josh Cook, late on the brakes. Sutton dives to the inside as well. He's up the inside of Hill. Cook goes second. Sutton for third potentially as they come down towards Graham Hill Bend. Ash Sutton may have lost the championship earlier on in the day, but he's not given up the fight in any sense, has he? He wants another race win, and he's almost alongside Hill, along Cooper Straight. That BMW is going backwards, not forwards as we expected.
Yeah, he's been absolutely mugged, although he's trying to go around the outside here, but that might just open the door for Rowbottom and Camish. But that was a great pass by Josh Cook. He absolutely timed that one beautifully on the cutback through Paddock. A little bit of curb on the inside to get the overlap early. Hill resists the pressure there from Rowbottom, at least for Hawthorns anyway. But yeah, Sutton on a charge.
As ever he is. Behind Rowbottom you've got Camish, and then there's Gordon Shedden. Where is Tom Ingram at the end of the opening lap? 9th is where the new champion is, as the cars again climb through Dingledale up towards Sheen Curve. Lead gap's coming down, isn't it? Josh Cook now closing on former teammate Aidan Moffat. Give Josh the tools for the job and he will deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredibly, we've said it before, but Josh without a win so far this year, he'd love to sign off in style with a win here. I was watching the start out the window. We have a great view of the start, and certainly Aidan Moffat was not outside of his pit box. So the only infringement I can think of would have been to have... Look, there, he's in the pit box. Does he move? I couldn't see anything wrong with that at all. No, couldn't see anything wrong with the start.
Well, we'll wait for the investigation to continue as Moffat leads Cook, who's done the fastest lap of the race. It was 4 tenths between them when they came across the stripe last time. Big effort being made there. Look, because up the inside goes Sam Osborne. He goes ahead of Adam Morgan, which is significant for teams and manufacturers, remember. Napa Ford versus Team Virtue Hyundai. Morgan fights back, gets his elbows out, and Sam Osborne runs wide over the curve. Ingram trying to protect the Toyota now.
Sam Osborne's got the soft tyre on, so he's got the right tyre on for this race, as Nick Halstead, who is also having his last race here, hopefully that's just a spin, and he rejoins with 2,500 names on the car, an incredibly detailed wrap, and a lovely thing to do for the BTCC fans.
That was down at Graham Hill Bend. He's rejoined, as you see, as the cars go to Westfield. Rowbottom versus Camish. They've been fighting, of course, to be third in the championship, and Camish ahead on points as they came into this race, as they make that climb now up into Sheen Curve once more. So Josh Cook closing all the while on Aidan Moffat. It's been a tough season for Toyota Gazoo Racing, don't forget. They had that reverse grid win courtesy of Gordon Shedden at Alton Park, but a second victory of the season courtesy of Josh Cook would be very welcome, let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you can just see in the body language of Josh Cook, he's fired up for this one. Had a bit of a rub with his teammate Aaron Taylor-Smith in the previous race, going up to Druids, the section they're running into now, but no action was taken on that.
As we stand in the independents, Chris Smiley would be up to second at the expense of Mikey Doble, and contact between Camish and Rowbottom. Camish spins, he's going to just about avoid the gravel, but he's got broken suspension, and that's Camish out of the race, out of the fight for third in the championship. Contact between him and his teammates as Josh Cook now gets up the inside of Aidan Moffat for the race lead. Cookie's going to go by. Great move. Through he goes. Moffat gave him racing room, but Josh Cook takes the lead. But Rowbottom and Camish coming together, that's going to go down badly.
That is an absolute disaster for the team, and really it should never have happened, because Camish was one of the cars, safety car is out, but one of the cars that was due to score points. Yep. So that is a real disaster.
So, Alliance Racing, Ford still leading the manufacturers in the teams. Napa Racing was ahead by 1 point of Team Virtue at the last passing of the line. That's going to change potentially with Camish out of the race. So we go safety car with Camish's broken Ford up at Druids. And it'll be fascinating to be a fly on the wall in the Napa Racing debrief, wouldn't it, after that?
Well, yeah, that's going to... Well, there's nothing worse. Be about as popular as a gherkin in a hamburger, I should say.
That must be bad if you won't eat it. Blimey.
Doesn't everyone throw out the gherkin from the hamburger? Most people do. Anyway, back to the broken suspension of Camish. We'll need to see that again, but look like we're coming into Paddock Hill Bend. Rowbottom is ahead. Camish takes a bit of curb on the inside. It looks like Rowbottom had a bit of a moment. I'm not even sure he quite knew that Camish was there. He was having a moment himself, wasn't he, through the corner, and then maybe didn't realise Camish had taken advantage of that and moved over. It just looks like he slams the door closed, doesn't it?
Yeah, you might well be right. He may well have been unaware that Camish had made that move, but you can hear the groan from the team's garage from up here.
I mean, he should have been, because he went into paddock defending, and he would have known he was defending from Camish, so he should have had the awareness to know that he was there. But, well, not the way Dan Camish wanted to finish, that's for sure.
So he goes and joins his fans and explains exactly what he thinks happened, but Dan even forces a smile. The irony of that, he's not lost, and all the people to make contact with, it's his teammate. So, safety car on track while the Ford is removed. So let's just look at the race order. Josh Cook ahead of Aidan Moffat, Ash Sutton third, Jake Hill fourth. Fifth is Shedden. Rowbottom survives but has dropped to sixth. Ahead of Ingram up to seventh, Proctor eighth. Ninth is Adam Morgan, and 10th is Sam Osborne. The leading independent is Chris Smiley from Dexter Patterson. Mikey Doble's third in the independents, and Dan Lloyd is fourth. Now, as Dan Camish explains exactly what happened, as far as the teams is concerned, now we have Team Virtue and Napa tied on points with the demise of Camish. As far as the manufacturer and constructors award is concerned, it's 5 points advantage Alliance Racing and Ford from Accelerate Motorsport and Hyundai. In the independents, Dan Lloyd is ahead of Chris Smiley now by 4 points, and that's Tom Chilton, who is out of the race as well. Now, we didn't see that, but we do know that he had an alternator drama in the earlier race, and we've lost Chilton down on the side of the circuit somewhere, and that's his race run.
But he wasn't one of the nominated virtue cars, was he, for points? It was Proctor and Ingram.
So it's pretty tense for plenty of people up the pit lane. Even if we're not talking about the overall Drivers' Championship, there's still quite a lot of heart fluttering going on. Safety car leads them through. As
so often happens in these races where there are championships and things to be decided, we sometimes forget about the race at the front. But what a great pass by Josh Cook. And wouldn't it be fantastic if he could sign off with a win in this last race? But he teed that one up beautifully. The Toyota Corolla working really well and has had a fine run of form since they changed the engine to the M Sport engine.
There's Dan Lloyd, and confirmation on screen of that 4-point advantage he's got over teammate Chris Smiley. I'll resist the temptation to talk to him under the safety car for fear of being as battered as his car was in race 2. Don't seem to have brought him a great deal of luck in terms of contact in the races, but he has had a good day in terms of banking points. The pole man from qualifying, Daryl De Leon, up into 11th place, fastest yesterday, didn't start the opening race at all, don't forget, so he's rebuilding his weekend. He is ahead of Charles Rainford in the Jack Sears Trophy. Charles Rainford coming up from the back of the grid, 14th, Daryl De Leon 11th. That's not over yet either.
No, that's definitely not over. That's still game on, isn't it? De Leon on the medium tyre and Rainford on the medium too, so no tyre discrepancy between the two.
So as the cars come through Hawthorne, then we're on lap 6 under safety car procedure here at Brands Hatch, and the race leader is Josh Cook. There's Ash Sutton, and he is running in 3rd place.
Let's have a look at his start. On board with Sutton. He had a great first lap, so let's see how it played out. Look at the launch past Shedden, up with Camish. That was a really perfect launch in a front-wheel drive car. Maintained the momentum all the way into turn 1, up behind teammate Rowbottom, who doesn't put him on the grass on this lap, but he goes up the inside. In fact, Rowbottom, I think, left the door open for him there. But what a great launch and first couple of corners. What happens, I don't think there's any movement now on the lap. He gets a good run off Graham Hill, and we've got bird's eye view of Josh Cook, Jake Hill and Aidan Moffat up front. The car working very well. Remember, he's on the medium tyre, and he looked to have more lateral grip actually going through Surtees there than Josh Cook on the soft tyre. So good first lap, nice to see. Again, this is on board with Dan Lloyd. Not such a good start, actually. Too many revs, too much clutch slip. Through goes Doble and Patterson on the left.
Chris Smiley seemed to get bogged down off the start as well in the other restart, didn't they?
I mean, the difference on board between that and Ash Sutton's, so both front-wheel drive cars, but you could see the reaction, how different they were. Chilton round the outside. It's not easy to get these cars off the line, it really isn't.
Down through Graham Hill Bend they turn. That's Charles Rainford going through. This was where we picked up with Dan Lloyd on the opening lap, trying to keep out of trouble but not let any more independent cars go past, and then he can sort of rebuild the rest of the lap once he's got himself into a rhythm, just conscious of who he's racing against and who he's not.
Yeah, that was a very cautious first few corners, wasn't it, from Dan Lloyd?
And right now he is in 17th place on the back of Mikey Doble, so he could do with gaining another place or two just to make sure of all of this, but Chris Smiley can do no more. He is the leading independent right now. So the safety car, I think, is possibly heading for the pit lane this time. It looks as though the lights are out. Yes, it is. So Josh Cook controls the pace as they come down towards Clearways, and he's going to be in charge of the resumption of the final race of the year in the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship.
He's not wasting any time. He's not dropped far back behind the safety car. He comes through at the agreed speed, moves up to the go line, which is coming up now.
So Josh Cook pulls the pin, accelerates away. Behind him it is Aidan Moffat, and let's see what Ash Sutton can do on the run up towards Paddock. Equally, Jake Hill's thinking about a move to the inside, and he's got Gordon Shedden behind him. Then Dan Rowbottom next up, and Sutton to the inside of Moffat for 2nd place, and they climb the hill. Ford on the inside, offline there. Look, there's a lot of grass after the Camish drama, but Sutton goes 2nd, and Hill tries to crowbar open a gap on the inside against Moffat, but he's on the outside for the next corner, and there's more BMW drama in the background. That was De Leon and Rainford, I think, getting together. Let's see what that's done to the Jack Sears Trophy outcome.
Yeah, both the BMWs side by side. They're both on the soft tyre, remember, so should be good off the restart. But it's Shedden that's right behind them. Oh, and Hill gets nerfed out wide. Does this give a good run for Shedden? He's on the outside, but he's got momentum.
Down they come towards Hawthorne then. Shedden round the outside of Hill. Is he all the way ahead? He's not. That means Hill can fight back on the inside line as they dive into the right-hander. Josh Cook trying to build a gap, but he's got Sutton charging along behind him. Rowbottom crawls all over the back of Shedden now, and behind Rowbottom, it's Ingram. Driving standards flag for Moffat for track limit offences. This is Ingram's view. Robo ahead.
Yeah, we've heard no more about that jump start or the start infringement, have we? So no more have been said about that. So hopefully no penalty for Moffat. That would really ruin the end of his day, wouldn't it?
So down they come towards Clearways then, this being lap number 8. We're up to 18 laps because of the safety car, and Josh Cook now trying to get away, but Ash Sutton going after him. He won the last race of last year's championship. He's trying to do the same again as Hill comes up to have a go at Moffat. Jake Hill desperately keen for a race win in his farewell touring car weekend, and Shedden sees a gap on the inside of the Toyota, tries to attack into paddock, can't do it.
There were lots and lots of hugs and farewells and everything else in the Laser Tools racing camp. We saw Craig Pawley, who has been Jake's engineer throughout, embracing everybody. Jake down the inside this time of Moffat, must get the move done, I'm sure. He had to just close the door from Shedden. Is he through? He is. Now watch Shedden try and get up the inside. Actually, Moffat's rolling it round the outside. Don't forget, Moffat didn't give him room, did he? But Jake did actually give him the racing room that he is required to do by the regulations. Shedden didn't get through, though.
So Hill goes third, Moffat down to fourth, and Shedden stays fifth, with Rowbottom behind him. Senna Proctor has jumped Tom Ingram, incidentally, now, as you go on board with Mikey Doble. Down towards Hawthorne, Darrell de Leon comes through on the inside. There was that drama up at Druids, but he was still ahead last time over the line of Charles Rainford as the cars now make that run from Westfield down towards Dingledale.
Great part of the track this. You don't get an idea just how much the gradient is as Charles Rainford comes through as well on the inside. Just a slight delay there for Mikey Doble on coming out of Westfield, and Rainford was able to go through.
So now you've got De Leon and Rainford together on the track. They are 7 points apart in the Jack Sears Trophy. So Rainford will be fully aware that he wants to get past his teammate. Good little inter-Nissan contest this coming up between the BMWs as they head towards the line. This is how we are in the Jack Sears Trophy as De Leon tries to pounce on the inside there, going over the line against Aaron Taylor-Smith, and he goes through. That's a good move and an important move. Gives him a buffer between himself and Rainford.
Yeah, using the boost. Oh, no, he's got a problem.
Taylor-Smith slows coming out of paddock, and it's been a tough day for the Irish driver Aaron Taylor-Smith. He slowly makes the run up towards Druids, and it looks like that's his race run. It's been a really tough season. The speed has been there, the results have not, and Aaron Taylor-Smith, sadly, is not going to be able to end the season on a high. The car crawling into the pit lane.
Well, that explains why he was passed so easily on the straight, doesn't it?
And that's Max Buxton trying to get up the inside of Nicholas Hamilton's Cupra as they round Surtees. Max, the son of Danny Buxton, Speedworks Director of Motorsport. Speedworks, the team that operates the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK programme. To the inside line goes Max Buxton. Side by side they come, and Buxton should be ahead by the time they get to the corner. And that is Gordon Shedden ahead of Dan Rowbottom. Last time through, Ash Sutton did the fastest lap of the race, and he's getting a little bit nearer to Josh Cook for the race lead.
Yeah, that's these two old stalwarts and great friends, Josh Cook and Ash Sutton, came into touring cars about the same time. Remember, they were teammates at MG, and well, their paths have crossed many times over the years since.
The race leaders are coming up there to complete lap number 10 out of the 18 that we now have. So Cook to Sutton, 1.4 seconds. In fact, that time, Josh really does respond, and he stretches the margin markedly over Ash Sutton, who in turn is being caught slightly by Jake Hill. So Cook looking to try to get a victory. It's been a long time between wins, and he makes that run now up towards Druids once again. Darrell de Leon fending off Rainford.
Yeah, the problem for Sutton is that Cook's got 4 laps of boost left. He's only got 1, and Hill's got 5. So could be a good chance of those closing up between them at the front.
We've got to go back to Croft last year, that last win by Josh Cook. He's trying to hang on in there as Moffat turns his way through, still fending off Shedden, who's fending off Rowbottom, and Ingram is back up to 7th in the background there. He is ahead of Proctor and Morgan, so the Team Virtue Hyundai still pushing forward in the Manufacturers Award. It is the Accelerate Hyundai team ahead in the teams. It is Napa by 2 points now from Team Virtue.
Okay, Shedden defending hard from Rowbottom, as in the pits, looking under the bonnet is the problem for Aaron Taylor-Smith. I can tell you the television makes it look perfectly light, but when you look out of our commentary box, it's very dark.
It is certainly at that time of the day when the light starts to fade, no question about it. As here is the train of cars, all disputing now 4th place. Moffat ahead of Shedden, so a very Scottish feel to the front of this line of drivers, with Dan Rowbottom in 6th, Tom Ingram, this year's champion, don't forget, in 7th spot as they come up towards the line. And Cook to Sutton for the race lead, 1.2 seconds. But Hill, on his last lap, the man in 3rd, did an absolute best sector. So Jake's still pushing. Tim's right about the gathering gloom. The headlights that the cars have switched on in many cases are now far more obvious.
Yeah, it should be a requirement to put it on, really, I think. But especially the dark-coloured cars, you can hardly see them.
Daryl De Leon still leading that Jack Sears Trophy situation, 7 points ahead of Charles Rainford, who desperately needs to find a way past his teammate, but it's easier said than done as along Cooper Straight they come. Lap 12 out of 18. Up front, Cook to Sutton, 1.2 seconds. Where is the next move to be found? It's Daryl De Leon there on the back. Chris Smiley. Smiley has lost the lead of the independents. Dexter Patterson has got ahead of him now.
Well, David will have a look what that does for the live points.
And it puts Doble back up into 2nd, takes the points away from Smiley. So Dan Lloyd is still on target to win the Independent Drivers' Championship, but Mikey Doble would be ahead of Chris Smiley by a point. So Chris needs that place back.
He certainly does, as De Leon passes Smiley just on the way down to Hawthorns.
Has Chris got a problem then? He's dropping away, isn't he? Dan Lloyd heading for that championship. Dexter Patterson then, who has had a couple of independent wins this year, could be rounding out the season.
Yes, he has. He's just slowed. He's just slowed. Rainford's gone past as well.
Smiley's got a problem for sure then, and Mikey Doble's going to get past him. So after all the optimism and what had started off to be a good day for Chris Smiley, something has gone awry. He's still circulating, but at a sort of 9/10 pace.
Yeah, very strange.
So Chris Smiley trying to hang on in there as best he can, but Dexter Patterson getting away. There is Smiley, hobbled by something as he comes across the line. Not only is Doble closing, but so is Dan Lloyd. So as they dive into paddock, 2nd, 3rd, 4th in the independents, absolutely together. Smiley with a drama of some sort. Let's see what he can do. Dexter Patterson has gone by and pulled away for the independents lead, and Smiley now has got Doble crawling all over the back of him. The only thing he can do in a sense now is help his teammate, can't he?
Yeah, you don't think he's trying to slow up deliberately just to cause a bit of potential problem for Dan Lloyd, do you?
Don't know, we'll find out in a moment. Certainly I wouldn't have thought he wanted to give away a class lead. He wanted the points to be 2nd, and he's lost those now, so Doble's back ahead. But look, coming out of the corner, Smiley pulls away.
Yeah, strange.
Plot thickens.
Does indeed.
Right, this is Dan Lloyd's view. Mikey Doble ahead as they head down towards Hawthorn. Smiley escaping. So to the right hander they come. Doble covers off the inside line. Dan Lloyd, who is still on target to take the championship, thinks about a move on the inside. It's a tough one to call this for Dan, isn't it? Yes, he wants to try to gain the place if he can, but he doesn't want to put himself in any situation that would cost points.
No, look at Max Buxton, he's catching up. Remember, he doesn't have the new M Sport engine in his car, having only stepped into that seat a few races ago. And I think he's acquitted himself extremely well. Hasn't done anything outrageous to affect anyone else's race. He's picked up pace every time he's got in the car, so well done Max Buxton, and maybe he'll be back for a full year next year.
Yeah, 3rd generation from the Buxton family, 3rd generation racer. Here though is Dan Lloyd coming over the line to try to have a go at Mikey Doble on the outside line up towards paddock. They almost touch there. Dan on the outside wants that switchback, wants the undercut coming up towards Druids, but Doble fends him off and instantly dives to the inside to make sure that there's no chance of the Hyundai diving up that inside. And you're right about Buxton behind, closing up all the time. Max absolutely has quietly got on with the job. He's learned, he's found speed, and here he is now sitting on the back of the driver that could be in the end of this race, the independent champion.
Yeah, well, and up front, Cook still has 1.3 second lead over Sutton. Hill set his personal fastest lap on the last lap, so he's charged, but he's 2.5 seconds behind.
So Dan Lloyd then tucked up behind Mikey Doble, but in terms of the championship, he is going to be 6 points ahead. The car's dropped down towards Hawthorn. Doble defending as best he can, but Smiley has escaped again, and that gap between Smiley and Doble is now up to 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, I think, I mean, clearly Mikey Doble, bless him, hasn't quite got the pace because of the way that Smiley's disappeared, but Lloyd doesn't want to take too many risks, does he?
No. And nor, even though Smiley has pulled away, can he do much about winning the class, which he needs to, because Dexter Patterson is away and gone, and there are 2 cars between Patterson and Smiley anyway. Here comes Lloyd on the attack down towards the vehicle bridge that clearways and into Clark Curve. Mirror to mirror, they dive into the corner. Dan Lloyd's not giving up the fight, is he? He's trying to find a way past Mikey Doble, and up towards the line they come.
And Nick Hamilton is the 4th car on this group, the black and yellow one. He's got onto the back of the group as well.
Driving standards flag for Jake Hill now for track limits, as there Daryl De Leon is under attack from Charles Rainford as they come through Druids. This for the Jack Sears Trophy competition, don't forget. De Leon ahead on the road, De Leon ahead on points. Rainford thinks about where he might be able to make the move, and it's not at Graham Hill Bend because there's just nowhere to go.
No, it's so close. I mean, the driver's actually got a good argument for exceeding track limits, and they can't see the edge of the track anymore.
Through Surtees they go, pretty much tied together. This fight is for 12 on the road, and we are currently on lap 15 out of the 18 in this final race of the championship season. Just going through shot was Dexter Patterson, 11th ahead of the 2 BMWs. There he is, the leading independent, and up front it's still Josh Cook leading the way by 1.4 seconds from Ash Sutton. And don't forget that Cookie started race 1 last on the grid.
Yeah, after that engine oil pressure problem in qualifying consigned him to the back, but reverse engineering your weekend. You have a bad qualifying, you reverse engineer to try and win the 3rd race, which is what he's doing in style.
Absolutely. So this is Dan Lloyd's view. Mikey Doble ahead then. Up to Stirling's they come. Race leader has gone by, 2nd and a half. Cook to Sutton, but Doble to Lloyd, it's about 1.5 inches as they come out of Stirling's. And here again, Lloyd tries the outside towards Clearways. This time Bales gets back in. Now look, Hamilton has got ahead of Max Buxton, so Nick Hamilton is up into 17th place and right there on the back of Lloyd. Great battle they're having. Mikey Doble is the kind of cork in the bottle here, but Nick Hamilton's having a great race, joining in the mix as well as they go over the line. He's not only with them, he's attacking them.
He'll be loving this, will Nick? Really enjoying it, getting stuck in and battling the other cars. He will absolutely love it. So well played, Nick, well driven. Up front though, I have to report Hill was half a second quicker than Sutton on the last lap. I think he's going to run out of laps, but he was very quick. He's catching Sutton at a rate of knots.
Brakes glowing on Nick Hamilton's Cupra as we see there heading down towards Hawthorns. A big effort against Dan Rowbottom coming from Adam Morgan. Tom Ingram has got ahead, so that we've had a change for 6th, now a change for 7th. The Ford fading.
Yeah, one Ford out and another one failing quickly. So David will update us on the points.
We'll do that at the end of the lap when they go across the line and everything registers, but it is going to be significant potentially with 2 places lost for Rowbottom, and one of those to a point-scoring Team Virtue car. Senna Proctor comes up to have a go as well as the field again pulls out of Stirling. So we're going to have 2 laps to go in a moment when over the line will go Josh Cook, getting a replay here of how the move came. Rowbottom defends, but up towards Druids on the outside goes Tom Ingram.
Outside, cuts back to the inside. I'm sure he's going to do it on the exit of Graham Hill. He's forced the Rowbottom to look. He's to go in tight, slow off the corner, running out wide. Even with the boost light flashing, he can't defend.
Up the inside goes Ting into Surtees, gains the place, gains the points for the team and for the manufacturer. Now, meanwhile, we've still got the fight going on between Aidan Moffat and Gordon Shedden. This is for 4th place. Aidan Moffat doing a good job here of hanging on to the place against Gordon Shedden. Dan Lloyd to the outside, Nick Hamilton to the inside. Now, Hamilton, don't forget, is an independent. He's on the soft tyre, but Dan Lloyd can't afford to let him by. He can't afford to be throwing away points. Doble locks up. Dan Lloyd might be being a bit overcautious in all of this, and Hamilton round the outside to gain the place. Fantastic. Well done, Nick, and now he's going to have a go at Mikey Doble as well. This is potentially going to change the independent outcome as well. Lloyd needs to get back past Hamilton.
Well played, Nick Hamilton, using the car and the tyres to his advantage, but he's had to get stuck in.
He has, but it might well be to the detriment of Dan Lloyd. And if Lloyd needs to fight back, well, he can't afford to let Buxton through, and he has gone by. Has Lloyd got a problem as well? We saw Smiley losing pace, and all of a sudden, Dan Lloyd has got shuffled back in the pack.
I think it's just a case of being too cautious. I really do.
Well, that, I fear, may possibly be his undoing. We'll find out at the end of the lap when we can assign places and points. But for now, we've got the race leaders through onto their final lap. This was the situation at the start of the lap, but with Hamilton getting ahead of Lloyd, it could now be a little bit different. There are the leading cars through, and you've got further back here, look, Shedden ahead of Moffat. He's done it, he's got up into fourth place. Moffat fights back. There's a lot to resolve on this last lap, and here's one of the fights. This is fourth, and it's Shedden staying ahead. Yeah,
one thing's not going to change is the battle at the front. Josh Cook has got this one in the bag. He's going to win his first and the last race of 2025 and go into the record books as a race winner once again. Sutton will be second and Hill third.
As they accelerate then up towards Surtees, and we await to see what's going to happen in that independent fight as well on the last lap. So it is still Josh Cook leading the way. He is on target for, as Tim rightly says, his first win of the season, and his only win of the season, and his first since Croft last year. It's going to be a second win of the season for Toyota Gazoo Racing UK. And welcome back, Josh Cook. It's been a long time since he's been on the top step of the podium, and hopefully this will be a precursor of more successes next year. The championship's a poorer place without Josh. He's going to come down towards Surtees then, chased home by Ash Sutton, vanquished in the race, vanquished in the championship, but Ash has fought long and hard all season. Checker flag at the ready for the final time this year. Race win to Josh Cook for Toyota Gazoo Racing UK. Ash Sutton takes second. Third across the line is Jake Hill, and then the fight for fourth was Gordon Shedden ahead. He is still ahead of Aidan Moffat, who has now got Tom Ingram right up behind him as they come up towards the line. So this is the battle for fifth. It's Moffat ahead of Ingram. Next through it's going to be Adam Morgan, and the fireworks go off as the champion comes home. Tom Ingram across the line behind Adam Morgan. Seventh was Dan Rowbottom, eighth. Senna Proctor ninth, and Sam Osborne 10th. Dexter Patterson is going to win the independents from Chris Smiley. Mikey Doble is going to be third in the independents. Fourth it's going to be Nick Hamilton. This is Dan Lloyd coming across the line, and as he takes the checkered flag, I think he has done enough, but only by 4 points. Dan Lloyd takes the checkered flag, and that, we reckon, is enough for him. So the independent trophy does go the way of Dan Lloyd.
By just 4 points. That was a nerve-wracking race for Dan Lloyd, but he set that up with a great drive in race one.
He did indeed. So Dan Lloyd is the independent champion, and a very happy man he is. See if we can have a quick word.
In the championship, third or second?
Dan Lloyd then on his way back to the pit lane. Dan, independent champion, well done. How does it feel?
Oh, amazing, yeah, God. That was, it was a very strange race doing it like that, but I knew the point situation and I knew what I needed to do, so I was just trying to be safe. Mikey was being mega aggressive, as you'd expect, but yeah, mega to bring it home. Thank you to all the support at home, all my sponsors, family, friends. It's just amazing. Thank you.
You'll talk to me now. You're a champion, I notice. Well done, Dan. Congratulations. Dan Lloyd, then, independent champion, brings the car home, and an excellent job done. So the Restart Racing team taking the independent teams trophy and the independent drivers trophy, Dan Lloyd from Mikey Doble. But the Jack Sears trophy goes the way of Daryl De Leon. Overall teams, Napa Racing UK by 2 points from Team Virtue. Manufacturers, though, Hyundai from Ford by 3 points. And it seems a long time ago that we had to worry about the driver standings. Tom Ingram takes the championship from Ash Sutton, and Dan Camish third, even though he didn't score ahead of Jake Hill and Dan Rowbottom, with Adam Morgan sixth. Daryl De Leon is the Jack Sears Trophy champion for WSR, and a good job done by the BMW driver as he comes then now towards Hawthorne. And Tom Ingram, no pressure, celebrates a championship and another excellent season in the British Touring Car Championship for him and for Accelerate, the team behind Team Virtue that operates the cars. Celebrations were obvious at the end of race 2 for Tom, and if you like, there are official celebrations, no doubt now, from the team. And it's always a very special moment, the final race of the year. Jake Hill, of course, is about to say farewell to the British Touring Car Championship, and he makes his way down to the post-race technical checks and a podium in his farewell day in the championship is a good result for the champion. It's been a tough year for him. It's been a tough year, in fairness, for the BMW drivers as a whole. Good days, not so good days, but Jake Hill taking third. So let's look at the results in this last race of the year. Josh Cook takes the title from Ash Sutton. Takes the race win, I should say, from Ash Sutton. Jake Hill finishing third and Gordon Shedden fourth. Aidan Moffat fifth, Tom Ingram, the champion, sixth from Adam Morgan. Dan Rowbottom eighth, Senna Proctor ninth, and Sam Osborne running out that top 10. 11th, Dexter Patterson to win the independents. Good job done. Charles Rainford next ahead of Chris Smiley, then Darrell De Leon and Mikey Doble. Max Buxton finishing 16th, just out of the points ahead of Nick Hamilton. Dan Lloyd 18th, but he wins the independent championship. Nick Halstead after a spin 19th. We lost Aaron Taylor-Smith, of course, with a problem. Dan Camish with damage. And Tom Chilton, also a retirement very early on after a difficult day for his Hyundai. So that is how the race resolved itself. In the championship, it's Tom Ingram, 42 points, the margin over Ash Sutton. Dan Camish third. Jake Hill's title defence nets fourth. Dan Rowbottom fifth, and Adam Morgan sixth. Tom Chilton seventh ahead of Charles Rainford. Gordon Shedden ninth, and Senna Proctor 10th, despite not doing the whole year. Not a bad effort at all. Dan Lloyd is your independents champion from Mikey Doble. Chris Smiley taking third ahead of Dexter Patterson, and Nick Hamilton in fifth. Darrell De Leon takes the Jack Sears Trophy honours, only by 5 points in the end though from Charles Rainford. Sam Osborne third, and those top three all outright race winners. Nicky, thanks very much. We have the race presentation taking place. First of all, you can see the top three. You've got Jake Hill for third, Ash Sutton for second, and Josh Cook kind of being helped up onto the top step. It's been a long time since he got there, so Ash making sure that he arrives in style. You've also got there Sam Osborne as the winner of the Jack Sears Trophy in the race, and you've also got Dexter Patterson as the winning independent. But Josh Cook raises the winner's trophy, and now the national anthem of the winning driver is played.
Of the 2025
it is Josh Cook's day as far as the final race of the year is concerned, because he's on the top step after about 18 months, and Josh Cook celebrates with Ash Sutton, with Jake Hill, last year's champion, Dexter Patterson, the independent winner, Sam Osborne, the Jack Sears Trophy race winner, and Josh reminds himself how you deal with all of this champagne. Let's see who's going to be in the firing line. It looks as though he and Ash have both worked out a plan here, and the champagne is sprayed, some of it over Jake Hill, and Josh gets his own back now on Ash Sutton. It's been a really tough season for Josh, of course, on the sidelines for a meeting or two with the demise of One Motorsport from this year's championship, and we hope that Steve Dubman is in good health and he's going to come back with his team next year. Josh then being brought in as a driver coach for Max Buxton, and then taking over James Dorlin's seat and rounding out the year with a win for the team that he drove for last year, Speedworks Motorsport. The winning drivers then from the last race of the championship season make their way off the podium, and the next thing to come, of course, will be the champions presentation. And there is Tom Ingram, ready to be called forward. Alan Hyde is the British Touring Car Championships circuit commentator, and it's his voice you'll hear in a moment to bring forward the drivers.
For the 2025 Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, to make those presentations, would you please welcome the Chief Executive of TOCA and the BTCC, Alan Gow, onto the podium. Thank you, Alan. Makes his way onto the podium, and of course the first award that he will hand out is this historic trophy, the Champions Trophy. The 2025 Quick Fit British Touring Car Champion is Tom Ingram.
A huge cheer and a huge smile for Tom Ingram, who first came into this paddock as a Ginetta Junior racer. He made his British Touring Car Championship debut in 2014, and it is going to be Jake Hill as last year's champion who is going to hand over the trophy. From one champion to another. They've raced together since Ginetta Junior days. They've raced together in touring cars. Tom Ingram is now a double champion. He has now taken 39 race wins in total, 6 victories were the aim this year. He's bettered that with 7. He's the Goodyear Wingfoot Award winner, and the 2022 champion is now the 2025 champion. His father Bruce applauds. It's been a tough season for the Ingram family, but it rounds out with Tom Ingram as British Touring Car Champion.
Well, what a celebration. The scenes here are incredible. An emotional one as well. But Tom Ingram lifts the silverware. Do join us after the break as we will be speaking to our 2025 British Touring Car Champion.